Hello, my name is Raymond today, and I am a recovering alcoholic. I'm here to read the Daily Reflections book for August 15th, 2026. It's called, excuse me, Didn't We Hurt Anybody? Some of us, though, tripped over a very different snag. We clung to the claim. Is that right? I like that. We clung to the claim that when drinking, we never hurt anybody but ourselves. That's from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 79. This step seemed so simple. I identified several people whom I had harmed, but they were no longer available. Still, I was uneasy about the step and avoided conversations dealing with it. In time, I learned to investigate those steps and areas of my life which made me uncomfortable. My search revealed my parents, who had been deeply hurt by my isolation from them. My employer, who worried about my absences, my memory lapses, and my temper. I added the and the friends I had shunned without explanation. Textbook. As I faced the reality of the harm I had done, step 8 took on new meaning. I am no longer uncomfortable, and I feel clean and light. Period. The end of the reading. So wow. The first couple times I read this, well, firstly, I missed this. Clinging to a claim, that's kind of an alliteration I'm fond of there. I might use that later in life someday. This thing, another big thing I missed right away. Let's read step 8. That's not the thing I missed, but it might help to clear up what I did miss. Step 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Period. The end of the 8th step. Made a list and became willing. Two things, two actions. What I missed, because I was getting angry, a little bit perturbed here when this person, let me just read all this again. This step seems so simple. I identified several people whom I had harmed, but they were no longer available. Just, done with that. Still, I was uneasy about the step and avoided conversations dealing with it. Just out of sight, out of mind, I guess. In time, I learned to investigate those steps in areas of my life which made me uncomfortable. My search revealed my parents, who had been deeply hurt by my isolation from them, my employer, who worried about my absences, my memory lapses, my temper, and the friends I had shunned without explanation. As I faced the reality of the harm I had done, step 8 took on new meaning. I am no longer uncomfortable, and I feel clean and light. Done with step 8? I guess so, right? Because what I just said, that's another reason I intentionally came back here and read step 8 and listed the two things we did. We made a list and we became willing. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. As I faced the reality of the harm I had done, step 8 took on new meaning. I am no longer uncomfortable, and I feel clean and light. I identified several people whom I had harmed, right there, but they were no longer available. Still, I was uneasy and blah, blah, blah. So, what I've been talking about all month, is, for the most part, I've been trying to talk about step 8 and trying to say it. I mean, how hard is that? If you can put aside the judgment to some degree and the criticism and the blame, put those things over here for a bit, and then write down some people's names you think you even might have harmed, and put them on the list too. Because if they even pop in for a second that, oh, maybe that one time that little minor something, whatever that may be, then it can be on your 8th step list, because after all, we're just making a list of people we had harmed maybe in the slightest and didn't even realize it maybe, and then became willing to some degree to make some kind of amends someday to them later. That just go ahead and put the name on the list. How long can that take? Unless they're in a foreign language. If you're writing down the names in your own language that you write frequently and are adept at writing, it doesn't take that long to write 2 names, maybe. First names only, even. I mean, okay, so, and that's all we really need to do is make this list and then become willing to make amends. That's where this time burn comes along, because we start thinking, how willing am I to make amends for what I did? Because in my eyes, what I did to them, number one, wasn't harmful enough, or wasn't harmful at all, and I should have done much worse, things like that. But I'm losing sleep and I need to try and do something. So then, that takes longer to, it's like, okay, they're on the list and I am willing to make amends to that person. An idea just popped in up here. If you write down a list of these people's names, have a writing stick and something to write on, and say, we've got these people. On my list, I've got Bob, Ted, Alice, and Daniel. And then, see if you see over here, it's all blank. And I'm going to make several squares here. Well, now I'll just make a series of squares next to the names I put on my list of people I had harmed, comma, and then became willing to make amends to them all. So this idea just popped into my head. Yes, willing. No, willing. Okay, so now I've made these squares next to the names of the people I think I may have harmed, or they're going to be on the list. And then it says, yes, I think, yes, I'm willing, and no, I'm not willing to make amends, to comply with the second part of the step. So in Bob's case, yes, I am willing. So there, I make a check mark there. Bob's willing to get an amend from His Holiness myself, King Baby. And so that's where it takes time, I think, is because now I look at Ted and I wonder, can I make an amend to Ted for doing that grievous thing I did to Ted? The harm I caused Ted? And, because then you might think, I didn't directly harm Ted, but I terrorized his family. And that affected Ted and harmed Ted. Or maybe you had a beef with Bob, say, and you were harming Bob and you're willing to make amends to him. But collateral damages occurred also, because in harming Bob, he lost his job and now his family starved to death, and I killed all 18 members of his family. These, that's where the time burn happens. We're spending a lot of time trying to figure out, are these people willing to, do these people deserve even an apology? Something lame like that we can all pretty well easily lie about, and that's the problem with making just an apology to somebody. Especially, I can't think of a least effective apology than like a text message, 3 words, I am sorry, period, or something. And then I send that to Bob. I wonder, if I did just that level of effort, would I feel clean and light? Maybe I would send a person a text asking if I could speak with them personally on a telephone first, maybe. And then do nothing other than talk on the phone with them. Don't be driving to the doctor's office with an exploded appendix and trying to speak out an oral apology over a cell phone while driving with an injury, or, if make it a dedicated phone call is what I'm saying. Okay, so I think I'm just going to leave this one alone pretty quick here. I want to plug this thing again, that I guess now we're beginning the 3rd week of the month. So what does my card tell us? This one that I've been writing this. We got the orientation in the first week or 7 days of the month, and then the methodology, how we actually accomplish the things, or maybe the things themselves that we need to accomplish might be the methodology. And now the execution is the accomplishment of these things that we are to do to complete the step, which begins today, the 15th. So you got the 1 through 7, the orientation, and then the 8 through 15, the methodology, and now we're into the execution phase in the 3rd week. And this is, this person, apparently this is done then. Didn't we hurt anybody? I am no longer uncomfortable and I feel clean and light. This step, this word, they use this word, this step seemed so simple. Just because they use that seemed in there, I'm expecting they're going to elaborate on this. And it's like, no, it was a bit more involved, because this person, I identified several people whom I had harmed, but they were no longer available, period. Oh, well then done, maybe. Anyhow, I'm interested in getting sleep and having peaceful, restorative sleep without a guilty conscience of a bunch of old past behaviors prompting me to get up and do something and fix the damage I caused in my previous life. That's something too that, maybe if you're anything like me, which, oh, have mercy on you if you are, and also congratulations. I had this thought A couple of thoughts. We get so many decades in life, 10 years, 0 birth to 10, and then 11 to what, 21, and then on and on. Your 10s, your teens, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. Wait a minute here. You got the aughts, and then you got your 10s, I guess. No, that's the aughts. No, then the 10s are the teens. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Now things are wondering, how much longer do I have? Maybe in your 40s, depending. Maybe in your 30s. I mean, okay, but anyways, it's the median average lifespan in the United States, even for maybe a alcoholic, is, let's call it 50. So you got these 6 decades so far, and then you got your 60s, 70s, and 80s. My God, if you're blessed to make it to your 80s, okay, and still be like not in incredible pain or something, or dementia, or whacked out, or missing half your organs, or whatever, or in prison, still alive. Okay. Anyhow, my point is that it's like, well, I spent my teens, 20s, 30s drinking and causing harm. Just to keep it simple and keep it real, my teens, my 20s, my 30s, harming people. I roughly call that 22 years of drinking. It might have been more or less, but let's see. And then in 04, 06, if you called it 08, 88, 8. What is that? I can't figure this out. Let's say I'm 60 and I was born in 64, or no, wait, what? 66. And I just turned 60, I think. When did I get sober? If I've been sober 20 years, it's 26 minus 20, that's 06. How old was I? 60. I can't figure this out. Stop pressuring me, man. Anyhow, either in my 40s or the end of my 30s, wherever it was, after 20 some years of drinking, I quit and figured out, if I spent 20 years harming people, a decent, fair thing for me now would be to spend 20 years trying to correct all the people I harmed and the damage I caused, and and re-educating myself and figuring out why I felt like I needed to drink for so long, or so much for so long, and that kind of thing. So a 20-year crime spree and then a 20-year sentence, that seems fair to me. And so that's what I've been doing. And you know what? It's going to take longer than 20 years to get this train wreck back up on the tracks fully and steaming along the line again. It's straight and true. Which is, I don't mind that at all. There's a lot of neat stuff, I think, in trying to correct mistakes. I like puzzles, I guess. What I really like, if I can remember exactly what I said, I was interviewing for this job, and then I got the job, and I was there for almost 9 years before I was laid off because of circumstances outside of my control. Let's call it the digital revolution. But I was informing the guy that had a huge part in hiring me, one of the owners of the company, that, what I really dig doing is taking broken stuff and fixing it. And then as icing on the cake, to make it look even better too. That I really like that part. So right here, that's what I'm working on. I don't know if I'm going to improve the looks much, if at all. I don't know. And at one point, I was totally into getting the functionality better, which I've done in some areas, quite a bit so. But then age starts working on that, and it gets more and more difficult. So what I'm aiming for now is reduction in damage by each year passed. So like I quit smoking quite a long time ago. I might get into that at some other point. That's another thing, is this 20 years of causing harm to whoever, everybody, basically, just by, well, anyhow, that 20 years of that, let's see, I think I smoked for, 30 plus years. 30 years. That, it almost killed me. I had a heart attack and other things, and anyhow. So, trying to repair the damage from that, I find that interesting because it can be done to some degree. At what the some degree, perhaps we can slow down the acceleration of further damage. Anyhow, I'm going to hang it up here. I wish you the best. This takes hard work. Maybe you won't find it hard. Maybe you'll find it debilitating and you cannot do the work, or you think you can't do the work. You can do a little bit often. That's a friend of mine said that to me, and I really appreciate that. You can do a little bit often. So, because these are like overwhelming things, I think. Anyhow, what I was trying to say about this age thing, man, is, maybe you feel poorly about causing a bunch of damage in your youth and you want to try and fix that so you can maybe get some rest in your twilight years, maybe. Okay, so keep working at it. It's worth it. Maybe today was a breeze, I felt clean and light. And then tomorrow just is a wreck, a tornado. It's just a hurricane from one end of the day to the end of the day. From the beginning of the day to the end of the day. But if you don't drink, you're a winner. Even if you drink, you're a winner still. Because if you survive it, you can get sober the next day. You don't have to drink again. You got that out of your system. You had the drink, nothing I can do about it now, except for don't drink anymore. Today. Just today. Only today. A little bit often. Let's just stay sober until lunchtime today. Excuse me. Yep. Excuse me again. Now that I've talked myself hoarse, thank you for spending your time here. Goodbye.